Good morning. I am in the studio of Hubert Schriebl, who is a good friend and well known in the community. Hubert, thank you for being here.
Hi, John.
Hi, Hubert.
Where's the cheese, John?
Oh,
where's the cheese?
I will get you cheese. I will bring you cheese.
Okay. The Gouda.
Okay.
The smoked Gouda.
Smoked Gouda. Oh, the high end.
The high end. Oh, now he's going up with the price.
Can you find me that image that I like so much here?
Yeah, it's probably going to take me a little bit.
So Hubert, tell me a little bit about where you were born and your background.
Well, I was born in Austria on a small village and on a farm. And we had kind of a small operation, but we had all the animals there. Everything we ate and what we drank was from the farm, mostly milk. and from then on, we were 7 children, so sooner or later, one had to leave, or the next one had to leave as they come along. But that was still a time when they believed in it's good to have a lot of children because you need workers on the farm. Put them to work. So you do work, and from early years on, you had to work.
Where were you in the family? Were you the oldest?
I was the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was the 5th. And when I was born, that was just still before the war. My oldest brother was already ready to go into the army, but everybody had to go. So I remember when he went, and so from then on, time went fast, and we had a good fun time,
mm-hmm.
but also a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, at what point did you decide to come to the States, or have the opportunity to come to the States?
Well, there's a lot of time in between.
Mm-hmm.
I became then, first I became a leather craftsman. I actually made gears for the horses. I did a lot of stitching and this whole thing. But during that time, then I moved into sports crafts, backpacks, soccer balls, and those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was always interested in mountain climbing.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved from my original part of Austria to Innsbruck, where the mountains are really there. So from then on, for a couple of years, was just work, long hours, and climb mountains. Work, ski, mountains. Work,
mm-hmm.
ski, mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on. So I became pretty good in this. And
how old were you at that point?
Well, I left for Innsbruck when I was 18,
mm-hmm.
yeah, or 17. So I came to Innsbruck not knowing anybody, but I just saw the mountains around.
Yeah, opportunity.
I got up the first morning and I went up to the street in the city and I looked down and there was this road going down and the end was the mountains went right up there. And since I didn't know anybody, I thought I'm going to find out where this goes. Yeah. So I went to the end of the road and started to climb, and by the end of the day I was at the top of that ridge.
And what ridge was that?
That was it's called the Nordkette. It's right, a ridge that goes north of Innsbruck.
Uh-huh.
And from then on, I just was very busy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And meeting people was climbing mountains, finding friends
mm-hmm.
with the same interests. And it went very fast from there.
So was that all recreational, or did you become a guide for people?
That was up until I was 24. it was recreational, yes. And then I was encouraged by older mountain climbers that I should go and make the mountain guide certification. And that's what I did. I thought it was all fun, you know, going up the mountains and learn how to guide and doing things the 3 weeks. And from then I had a great time because I was more interested in doing climbing and skiing than I was in working. Working was important because that was the only way to make money. But then when I start getting money from mountain climbing, so the summer was for me in the mountains guiding, and the winter was I also became a ski instructor, an Austrian certified ski instructor. And from then things went very fast. And I was then in the winter of 69, 70, I was the coach of the Greek ski team. So that sounds kind of odd, but the Greeks have a lot of mountains and they have a ski team. And so I went to Greece and climbed mountains there and was coaching.
So we're overlapping. At what point did you come to the States?
In 64.
64.
But before that, I went to the Himalayas. And then at the end of on my third expedition, I went with a Dutch group to the Himalayas. And after that, I saw my friend in Innsbruck, Emo Henrik, was the ski school director at Stratton. And he said, "What are you doing?"
Emo was so inspirational in bringing a lot of Austrians to Stratton.
Yeah. Well, so he asked me, "Well, do you want to come to America for winter?" I said, "Sure, I'm interested." So I went to the Himalayas, and after a couple months, when I got back to Innsbruck, I just changed clothes, basically, and came to this country.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then you instructed at Stratton for a number of years?
Yeah, I instructed at Stratton for 3 winters. Yeah. I did meet my wife at the end of the first season, and then as I came back after the 3rd year, we actually got married, and then I came to live here. So
was Wendy a ski instructor as well, or
no? Wendy was in college in Boston, and they came up with friends.
You gave her ski lessons?
To ski? No, I never. No, she was a good skier. No, but I gave lessons to her friends.
Great. And then, so it was while you were here that you got the opportunity to coach the Greek team?
No, that was before that.
Oh, that was. What year was that?
That was in 59, 70.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry, 59, 60.
60. Okay,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
And so tell me, was it a big transition for you to come to the States? And did you miss Austria, or?
Well, not really. At the first year, everything was new, and so I was curious, and the winter went by pretty fast. It was somewhat at first disappointing because the mountain is much
Nothing
smaller.
like what you were used to.
Yes, but it has had its own challenge.
Yeah.
As you know, the weather, the temperature here is a challenge.
Yeah. And working with the people on a daily basis must have had its own challenges.
Yes, that's its challenge. But I was actually I was actually a good ski instructor because I was quite
very
popular.
personable. Yeah.
Well, and I'm still a good skier, I think. So, but it bothered me always when I had to be out there with the students on a nice day while I should be taking pictures. You know, so on good days, people want to ski. In good days, I want to take pictures.
Yeah.
So it
now, when did that interest develop?
That just came. Photography I did before I got into climbing. Actually, through climbing, I got into photography, and just because the beauty on the mountain and the whole thing, you always have great situations, and that's when I picked it up. And I was not thinking on being a photographer, becoming a photographer.
That just evolved.
It just evolved because after the first year, I went back to Austria, came back here, and then I saw they used a picture for a poster at Stratton. Picture I took and said, oh, I didn't expect that. So from then on, they were start using pictures, and I still was teaching at the same time. But more and more, I went into photography. That was my biggest interest. Yeah.
And your photographs are everywhere. I think probably people around here know you best for your photography.
Well, probably through the Stratton magazine.
Yeah.
Yes. People don't know my background too much.
Yeah, and that's what we're getting into today. You have a beautiful display of cameras here, including the first camera that you had, I believe. Can you tell me a little bit about them?
Yes, the first camera was a Voigtländer, and that is supposedly the first 35mm camera. And a mountain climber, an older guy, lent that to me, and I found out later on why he did. We had another camera. So first of all, this is a very interesting mechanism here. Well, you push the button, you open up, and the lens jumps out. That's normal. But the beauty of this camera was that you had to, you can put it together, fold it together, and it's very flat.
Very compact.
Very compact. And it's ideal, it's not light, it's heavy. But ideally was you just throw it over you. You had it up front, and then I made a little string here. And
strap it around it.
Yeah. Well, now I can't reach it anymore. I think the strap is too small now.
Short, yeah.
So then it's, when you open it up, you just push this button. And this here, well, most cameras had the winder. This had just this stick. And this was actually for fast shooting. That's not the first model of this camera, but this is for sport shooting, because they were able to push the button down and let go. So that goes much quicker than turning. So down, go, and then snap. So, but it didn't snap now, and that was the very reason this guy let me have it, because the shutter didn't always work. So this had to go down here and didn't engage. So it makes a, can you hear that?
Yeah.
Very quiet.
Yeah.
So that was the beauty of the first cameras, that they were very quiet. Now you wake everybody up in the room, you know. So that was the beauty. And so anyway, this was the great camera, and I still...
Now, is it still functional? Do you occasionally take
yes.
pictures with it?
No, I don't use it, because the viewfinder is very small. You know, you don't see it clear because you don't look through the lens. So, but it folds up together, and I just keep this. This is absolutely valuable to me.
Priceless.
Priceless.
Now I see some other beautiful cameras. You've got a Leica. I see a Hasselblad. What?
Yeah, I went to the Leica on my first expedition. My old
and that was to the
mentor
Himalayas?
To the Himalayas. He said, "Hubert, want a good camera, because you don't make always a trip like that. You get a Leica." I have a friend in Munich, and he said he's going to give you a good deal, and you can pay it over time. So I got the M3, and it has the winding mechanism, you know, so how slow this goes. And then they were very difficult, but also very quiet. Very difficult to load. But you couldn't fold it together, but still was quite small. So he said, get a 35 millimeter lens and get a 135 millimeter lens. He said, if you go to the Himalayas, you need a wide angle. That's what they thought was a wide angle, you know. They don't know about 24s we have now and the 17. So get that 35. You need that for the scenery, and you get a 135. That's for portraits, and that's and he was completely right. The portraits are fantastic. You could make all kinds of tricks with it. People were always, at that time, people never saw this kind of thing. So when strangers came, they looked into everything. And so what I was doing was, there is, for the 135, there was an attachment here. It was called the Weisseflex. And you could put the viewer in this way to look through. It's a mirror. It made a mirror. So, but you could take that, you were able to take that thing off, push it in the other side, and I was taking pictures like this. Wow. So I looked in this way, and I photographed the people behind me.
Wow.
The great shots, great faces. Yeah.
Discreet.
That was great. Then, but then in '64, my friend Erwin, he was a Hasselblad fan. He had to have a Hasselblad. At that time, a Hasselblad was like you own that, you get a house, you bought a house or something. You know, it's just very difficult. So, but that took a while before I got the Hasselblad. But then, the same format is a Rolleiflex. The Rolleiflex is a twin lens camera, and you open up and you look in at the top. It had also an eyepiece, and you could. So the only thing is a little strange with it is because it's backwards. The view is backwards. You don't see it like this. It's backwards. So, but it had a lot of different other advantages. You could take a picture like this, whatever, you know. So
you got the whole history of camera evolution.
Yeah, well,
and all very nice cameras.
So the Rolleiflex was a very practical camera. I mean, it's beautiful. Cranking was very fast. It went over and down, slack. You know, it's just quick. The disadvantage was there were just 12 pictures on one roll. So I had a Leica when I went with the Dutch expedition, and I got this one. And can you imagine? I bought 30 rolls of film. That was a lot of money. 30 rolls of film, 12 exposure each. So you have about
360 exposures.
360 exposures. 360 exposures. I do this on one morning.
And you were out of film.
Out of film, yeah. No, but now we did.
And now look at this machine that you have here.
So this was just great, but it taught me great discipline. Just take
Focus
a picture
on what you...
when it's a picture.
Yeah.
You know, not just go wild. Even with this here, it was, I was always, and shooting slides from the beginning teaches you discipline, because a slide you hold up, everything that's there, somebody looks at it. What's there is what you get, it's all there. There's no cropping, there's no fooling around. So again, discipline to
really get what you want.
Get what you want.
Yeah.
And that's, I would still recommend to everybody, but now.
So tell me a little bit about your expeditions.
I still have one more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That is the Hasselblad that I got much later. Actually, the Hasselblad I got here. This is the Hasselblad Super Wide that does incredible pictures. It's a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
But this was the camera.
So what year was this?
This is this is not the Cadillac. This is the Mercedes.
What year did you get this one?
This I got maybe 20 years ago. You see, it's in beautiful shape, but I don't use it anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, everything's digital.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, and then of course it's this here.
This monster.
I switched later on. It's not really a monster. I switched later on to Nikon because the accessories, the building on it, was much cheaper,
more compatible,
inexpensive than Leica. Leica was just so expensive, and still is. So if you want to have more lenses, different bodies, you went into this here, and this is a great camera now. It all depends on.
Talk about the convenience of digital. While we're on this subject, this whole evolution from going from film to digital. I mean, now you can take 1 million pictures and disregard most of them.
Yeah. But
you don't need the same discipline.
If you have been a photographer before, you still don't waste time.
Yeah.
And you have to work the images. So
stay
time
focused.
is money.
Yeah. All right. Now tell me about some of the various expeditions you've been on and where you've been. Himalayas.
I went to the Himalayas in 60, 61, 62, and 63. Actually, 63 was a little different. It was a research expedition to collect primitive folk music in Nepal.
Wow.
And I was there with an expert, but I was just recording what he was doing. In 64, I went with a Dutch expedition. We climbed a mountain called Manaslu. And that's when I took the picture up there, and
one behind you there.
This behind me in 64. I went in again in 68. That was my last to Nepal, and that was mainly my expeditions were for making maps. We made maps in the early 60s of Everest.
And you were primarily a guide, right?
I came there as a mountain expert to help to make them secure,
keep them alive.
Keep them alive, be there. But then after a couple of weeks, there was one mountain climber, a very good mountain climber, but he could not handle the high altitude. So when he went up to 18,000, 19,000 feet, he just couldn't stay there. Couldn't function. He couldn't function. So, but I took the altitude actually quite well. So we went up and down a lot, and then my mentor actually said, "Hubert, why don't you run a machine, a survey machine?" It's called a phototheodolite, where you take pictures, glass plates. There are like 7x10s glass plates, and you take also you got the data for the distance and
the elevation
and the whole whole thing.
Huh.
And that was fascinating. And from then on, I kind of was. First time I did this, and I knew how to learn how to do it. From then, I was a natural for the other expeditions.
Yeah. Now you talked briefly about a mapping expedition around Mount Everest.
Yeah, that was mostly around Everest.
And what's the highest elevation you've climbed to?
I was on 24,000 feet.
And what mountain
that
was
that? Manaslu. That was in West Nepal.
Wow.
Yeah. But with a survey instrument, I had the record on the ground survey. It's on 23,000 feet. Because now they do everything from the plane and things.
Yeah.
But we were cheap.
Yeah. And young. So tell me a little more about your experiences here in the working with Stratton. Did you work with other ski areas, or have you pretty much stayed at Stratton?
I have pretty much stayed with Stratton all the time. Yes.
You're so dedicated to that mountain.
Well,
I see.
I know it in and out, and I have to say that the way I got into photography, also to ski photography, was that I knew the skiing. I knew what to expect. And so when I start getting outside jobs from the magazines, from ski or skiing, they would send me because I know where to get it, you know, a lot of. And at the same time, I had this combination between one side, I was handling the elements. It's not always pleasant because most people always thought ski photographers are crazy anyway, you know. That's why Powder Magazine awarded every year the purple thumb, the purple finger, because it was the Frozen Finger Award. That was what it was. The Frozen Finger Award was going on. And they thought the photographers were loony.
Yeah.
And, you know, I
agree with them.
Right. I agree with them because standing in a place for hours.
Watching,
hours waiting and delays and things.
Who are some of the notable skiers or snowboarders that you've photographed?
Well,
many, all of them.
Since Klammer and before Klammer and all through Keeley, the American, you know, Bill Johnson.
Yeah.
And then I did a couple of Olympics. I did photographed like Placid for Skiing Magazine. And in '76 I was did for both for ski and skiing in Innsbruck. And then like Placid, and then I did some world championships in between. And then my last Olympics were Sarajevo. Sarajevo was very challenging because it was the venues were far apart from places. But it was a great experience there.
Do you have any particular photos that are favorites or stand out in your mind? There's so many. I know it's hard to.
There are many, and they still become favorites, you know. But of course, some of the things that people that don't live anymore, that don't race anymore, it's valuable.
Yeah, it's even documenting
even if nobody wants it, but it's valuable.
Yeah. One of my favorite shots is of you and me. I think this was just last year at the Hapgood store.
Listen,
I don't even know who took that picture.
How could it be different between you and me?
And that was a good one.
Yeah.
And you've taken many, many pictures of Taylor Farm and my children, and it's been wonderful.
Taylor Farm, actually, I went over there too, and I took this picture. Remember the girl holding the eggs?
Yes.
This was, I did something for the Los Angeles Times, and I had to go around, photograph a couple of farms, and then I had to go up to Woodstock, South Woodstock. They had a water buffalo.
Yes, I remember.
Farm there. Yeah.
Didn't last too long, but
didn't last too long. But they acted like wild buffaloes.
They were. Yeah. Very difficult to.
They saw me and they went away.
Not like my cows.
No. Oh, you're friendly cows.
Now, a lot of your work has been with the Stratton magazine.
Yeah.
And does that preoccupy most of your time at this point, or?
Well, yes. It's all spread out. Stratton, the ski area, are very occupied in the winter. That's. But there also we have, as you know, we have winter stories in the magazine, and so I have to do various other things, either maybe ski jumping or cross country race, or some people doing strange things, you know, like you with the horses, pulling sleds.
That's not so strange.
But that was a lot of fun there. Yeah. No, that's good. And. But the magazine, it's over time, I have photographed so many different things. And that's actually the beauty of photography, one side that you get to things that normal people don't get, you know. and then you usually have front row. You know, I did Formula One racing at Watkins Glen. You know, you go in there and you photograph Lauda and James Hunt and all those people. And I just saw the movie about James Hunt and Niki Lauda. It was just unbelievable, unbelievable. So you go back to this, and you're right there, right in by the cars.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you photograph famous people, important people.
You get a very intimate
yes,
connection
yeah,
with.
you really can work with them.
Yeah.
You know, it's I once I got an assignment from a New York magazine. I think it was some fancy glossy. They want to have pictures of David Mamet. You know, he lives in Vermont here. He lives up in Cabot. And David Mamet had this amazing knife collection, American-made knives. So I got to photograph him. Nobody can get close to David Mamet. You know, he has this, he's a very important aura around. And the other, my friends from AP, said,
how did
you go photograph David Mamet? How are you going to do that?
Only you.
So, well, sometimes you have to work your way.
Yeah.
No, it's just you have to be comfortable with it. And one thing you have to do, you cannot be too impressed by people, by important people.
Yeah, don't be thrown off
by that. Then
you're
too timid. You're too timid. Yeah.
They're
so
just people.
Like they're just other people.
Yeah. Like I'm not intimidated by you.
And you should be.
Maybe a little bit.
I tell you, looking at you, you are intimidating.
What are some of the other venues that you've worked for, magazines?
I'm just looking here. We are so different guys. Look at my small little hands. You know, I mean, just barely can hold a camera.
Well, speaking of that, I noticed you lost a nail on that thumb.
Yeah, that was
that frostbite?
No, I was so young. As a kid, it got in a door and it was closed. So it never came back the same way. But anyway, I'm very lucky. Always working in cold weather and rocks and ice and everything. I'm pretty tough.
You still have all your fingers.
And I don't have arthritis or anything.
Yeah.
But I look at those hands.
I got a little arthritis.
Yeah, but look at the work you do.
Yeah.
You know, this is so amazing. I love big, great working hands. It's so amazing what you. Yeah.
You have to document hands.
Oh yeah, that's another story.
So again, what are some of the other magazines or other work that you've done?
I have worked with the German Geo. It's called National Geographic kind of thing. And
have you done any shots for National Geographic?
Not for them directly.
Yeah.
No.
A lot for Vermont
here and there, sooner or later. I did some for not a lot, like the steady guys do it, you know, for Vermont Life, they're usually the same guys. It's a little, the pay is not too great for them. The time you put in, you know, it's tough. And after all, you have to make a living. You know. To make a living in photography is tough. Anyway, you know,
that's a testament to you. That
I cannot recommend any young person go into photography. So
there are too many already.
Why don't you go on hunger strike right away?
You don't want the competition.
No, it's not the competition. No, there is no competition anymore.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not saying this being arrogant or something.
Right.
But I do my thing.
Yes.
It took a long time to get there. And everything seems to be simple to me.
Yeah.
What's the big deal about a picture? But I guess there are many years behind it. You know, it's just
sure.
Like my friend Ernst Haas in New York. He was an Austrian, a very famous photographer, and he would he was. I'm throwing Austrian words in there. He would, if somebody would ask him, how long did it take you to take that picture? or you would say 500 of a second.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Well, we can't see it on film, but I'm looking at this beautiful photograph here on the wall, and you just captured this little girl holding a kite, just about to release the kite, with the clouds moving, and it was just, that's such a wonderful...
I do. That is one of my favorite. It has this feel of anticipation and
Yes.
readiness
Yes.
there. And what's the neat thing about this kite is it's made out of handmade paper. In Nepal at that time, you couldn't really see real paper. It
Yeah.
was handmade paper, and you would go through the woods somewhere, and all of a sudden it was against the law actually, because they cut too many trees down. And you will find a place where they made hand paper, and they had kind of screens, and then have this
Make a pulp and...
make a pulp and mash it up, and then they will spread it over here.
Yeah.
And dry it in the sun,
Yeah.
and then pull it off. That was
Yeah.
the paper. So this is just this handmade paper, and
Yeah.
then they had a game with the kites over there, that this spool, rolling and so with a long line, and the game was they cut pieces, they put pieces of glass
on the wing.
in the string,
Oh.
and then they would go up and they would cut each
Each
other
other.
kite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is old, long before the kite runner, was coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
There's so many things I want to capture. We keep kind of bouncing around here, but you have these incredible straps that go on the bottom of skis. Tell me a little bit about them.
Oh yeah, this is from the climbing, ski touring time, and it just goes to show that I came a long way. And those skins here.
And this is actually
it's just
seal
as old
skin.
as my skin.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is real seal skin. Yeah, that it goes one way.
Yeah.
And then you slide forward, and then when it stops,
Yeah.
it prevents you from sliding back.
And how effective was it?
It was quite effective, but you couldn't go as steep as you go now. There is see this loop goes over the top, over the front, and then you have straps here. There were various systems, and you tie this
Tie it on.
at the top. In the back, you were sliding the ski down, and then you bring it over the back,
Yep.
forward, and then you hook it in. It's a buckle. Those buckles were used were widespread, the use of those buckles with ski bindings.
Yes,
You tie
yeah,
it down.
yeah.
So that would stretch it.
Yep. Keep
But
it taut.
Keep it tight. But it was good with dry snow, and you go straight or
Yeah.
not too steep. But when it got wet, as you see how this became narrower, the skin stretches, cotton, this stretches, and then they fall off. And most
You were talking about snow getting packed
snow
underneath
gets
them.
underneath, and all these kind of things. And it took quite some time before they came up with the sticky skins, where they put the skins, and the seal skins were replaced by synthetics.
Yeah.
Synthetics, much better now.
So what year were you using this?
I got those in Innsbruck. 50 years ago.
Yeah.
More than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're probably 55 years old. Yeah. So this is whole. So, but they will always break,
Sure.
and you had to have a kit with you all the time, so to sew them and fix them.
Yeah.
Well,
A lot of work.
this-
Labor of love.
Yeah, but alpine mountaineering is one of the best thing you can do. It's still my favorite activity, and it's not the skiing down.
Yeah. It's the climbing
It's
up.
the climbing up.
Yeah.
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 I see your posts on Facebook almost every day of trips up Stratton. Can we take a moment and wander around and look at some of the photographs you have in the house and some of the other memorabilia?
I'd love to.
All right, let's do that. Show me some of the work that you have here.
Well, a lot of work I'm doing here in the area and at Stratton is ski action. Ski action I do a lot. This guy's name actually is called, his name is Kasi. Kas means cheese in German.
Oh, no, here comes the cheese.
Yeah, here comes the cheese. Kasi was a special jumper, and he had kind of something similar with cats. If you throw a cat in the air, it comes always, it twists to the side and falls down on the legs. Yeah. Now, I also experiment with photography a lot. This, for instance, is, this is not water. It looks kind of like water.
A little more abstract.
This is in Manchester. I photographed a crabapple tree in May. It was snowing at the same time, a couple of years back. And in order to get this effect, I hold the lens there and then I make slow rotating motions as I expose it. I also like forms, of course, like snow forms. This one happened to be in Austria. This was a beautiful snowfield. And then I...
And black and white. A lot of your work has been...
Well, in black and white also, yeah. But then I was interested in flowers. Flowers and nature. Flowers are beautiful, but if a flower is just, you photograph it straight, to me it's a little bit boring because I've seen so much of it. So make it a little interesting. You go close and you blur out the background. You use a macro lens. This is a, what's that flower we have no, it's not a lily, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's a rabbit.
Jack in the Pulpit.
No, it's not.
Trillium.
Trillium. And trilliums are usually purple, but this was a very rare one. I found a white one in the woods. And this was interesting. This is still done with slides, with transparency. And I had the last frame in the camera. This was the last frame, and I just got it right. I just love it because it keeps you looking at it to try to find what is it, and at the same time, it's pleasant to your eye. It looks a little bit like a Georgia O'Keeffe painting. And here we have so much of it, the black-eyed Susan, but not always with diamonds on it. Those are with diamonds least, and unfortunately those diamonds are not forever. They disappear very quickly, actually.
And you caught it.
One trip I did up to Ellesmere Island, that's in the northern part of, belongs to Canada, but it's way up towards the, beyond the Arctic Circle. And this is in a town, it's called Grisfjord. And they're only on a patch of land as big as Texas, has only 100 people living on it. Wow. Yeah. This is Larry with his dogs. In a, as you see, he has the Greenland technique where every dog is on a separate leash, on a separate line. And this is how they spend the time outside the whole year round.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I love, of course, every time the beautiful leaves in the fall. This was one of my trips up the mountain early in the morning. On the way back down there, the frost was gone. I have this right outside my house, this lovely apple tree. But unfortunately, it slowly died off. And I got this shot because I was snowed in. I wanted to go to work and drive down the road and go out, and I was stuck. So I was stuck at home.
Beautiful photo right in front of you.
I walk back up and I see this and I was able to get a nice shot of this. Just, I think some of them are just the ladder up there and the line with the swing.
Yeah.
Also, I love this house. This shot here. This eagle is a Russian steppe eagle, and just the detail in that shot is just so fantastic. His eyes. And here I come to one of my favorite here, from South Londonderry, from the Digital Farm. Where's the cheese? Where's the cheese? Yeah.
The cheese.
Yeah.
You have to come to Taylor Farm.
Taylor Farm.
Yeah.
Do have very good cheese.
We
there.
have some pretty good cheese.
I know.
Yeah.
I had Taylor Farm cheese.
I hope you will come.
Yeah.
But this is a beautiful shot. The subtlety of the light and the pinks and the.
It's in late fall actually.
Yeah, and the cows are still on pasture, and yet the mountain's covered with snow.
Yeah, yeah. That's really one of my.
What year was
favorite.
that taken? Do you know?
91, I think.
Oh,
it
wow.
was. Yeah,
Yeah.
in 91. So. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And of course, that mountain. Now you can be digital. This is a digital picture. You can convert it into black and white, color or black and white. Sometimes color, black and white seems to be looking more intriguing. It looks more timeless, you know.
Now, would you say you do an equal amount of either black or white or color, or do you?
You take it in color. You take it in one anyway. You take it in color, but you convert it in black and white. Yeah. That's just a certain technique, how you can do it and how you can make it better work. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Hubert, for sharing.
I have one more picture.
Oh, one more.
From the Himalayas. This is another one of my favorite. Is the girl flying a kite in front of the Annapurna Himal.
Yeah, and that's the one we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Capturing her motion.
And here I have this woman here. As an expeditions, people always sense there is some money somewhere. They could sell something. And this was on 15,000 feet. This woman came up from the village below and to sell yogurt. Yogurt, everywhere they make yogurt. And I had this in an exhibition, this picture. And this picture got sold. Quite some nice money. And you know why it was sold? Because the person was dealing with money. And it was somebody from Merrill Lynch.
Oh, wow.
So it had a relation to it. But it's a wonderful picture.
That's wonderful.
It's just something I never forget.
Well, thank you, Hubert. And come to the farm for cheese.
I will come. We got some cheese.
Baranda ta tireba, warabarandi turirona,